playing some of these videos so we kind of get a feel and an idea of where we're going as a company and as an industry. One, to get us excited about, you know, the future, but also to see the importance and the necessity of networking. I mean, I have never been a computer guy. I mean, being in this field, I kind of just got thrown into it and figured out how to learn, you know, a bunch of the basics to make things work. And as we go forward in the future, 90% of our equipment isn't going to work anymore without knowing networking basics and being able to, you know, to get them to talk and communicate. Right? So I want to talk about a couple kind of new products and just some visuals of how things are going. Like this is a school system, and you know, when we were at InfoComm, we saw a bunch of newcomers which we're going to be moving towards, but everything is IP based. I mean, here you've got push button tabletop mics, you've got horns, you've got classroom speakers, classroom buttons. All these are IP based. So they're all PoE speakers. Now, instead of running 18.2, you know, I mean, we're not there yet, but that's where we're moving towards. To where everything's going to be powered over PoE, over the network. And what's cool about going this way is you can use clients' existing cabling, existing networks, and make, you know, installation a lot easier. Being able to use, you know, as long as they have the right cabling in place. But everything is going to be, you know, focusing on Cat 6 and running over the network in the future. So I kind of wanted to look at a couple, basically. Let's see. So kind of some examples of what I'm talking about with where this is going. So one of these network-based solutions is what we call AV over IP. And basically what this is, so we use like Cat 6 for balance, which is just a point-to-point communication. But what's nice about AV over IP is it's not just a point-to-point communication, everything travels over our network. So say I've got a 24-port network switch, and on that 24 ports, say I have 10 different wall plates that are inputs, you know, 5 VGA wall plates, 5 HDMI wall plates. Then I've got outputs that are going to projectors, TVs, you know, computers, whatever. That could be anything from DVI to VGA to component, all traveling over this same network. So the way things going, typically what we've had to do up until now has been we've had to have, you know, some type of matrix that would have a set number of inputs, a set number of outputs, because it's all been point-to-point communication. But as things are progressing forward and traveling over the network, it's no longer going to be that way. And you can build a system to where you could have, you know, 150 displays. I mean, you'd have 1,000 displays as long as your network can handle it. You know, different things, and you get everything: HDMI, DVI, whatever, audio, control, all over these networks. So it distributes content from a single source out, like I said, to hundreds of displays, and it's totally scalable, all over Ethernet control. And what's nice about you know, having everything go over the network is, you know, a lot of times with HDMI, you get an HDMI bail, and what you run out, you know, most of them are like 150 feet. Sometimes you can get them up to like 300 feet, but with this, you know, with traveling over the IP network, there's no actual limitation to how far you can extend some of this stuff with your network. So you could have an input plate, you know, in our office, and then, you know, Meridian, you know, down Jersey Shore or something, you could have an output going to a TV if you were on the same network on that connectivity. So that's the cool thing about being able to scale it, as long as you're on that same, you know, VLAN or whatever, and we'll get into that in a minute. We'll talk about that. You can send things. It doesn't have to be just point-to-point communication. Is my computer freezing? Yeah. Okay. that's the gist of it. I don't want to actually go through this whole slideshow, so get out of it. All right, so I want to talk about a couple products we're going to be seeing in the near future, which kind of pertains to everything we're talking about here.
Control hasn't changed much lately. In fact, it has been done the same way in the Pro AV market for nearly 30 years. When you needed to deploy a control system, you were forced to purchase a big central control processor box. This legacy box was completely passive and isolated. It meant you had to pay hundreds of dollars per hour to have custom code written in order to integrate these boxes into your deployment. Then, for every new device you needed to add or every little change you wanted to make, you had to pay hundreds of dollars per hour all over again. All these costs limited control deployments, mainly for high-priority locations. Introducing Kramer Control. Kramer is reimagining control from the ground up. By migrating all setup logic to the cloud and leaving only smart units on premise, we got rid of the legacy control processor box. All Kramer Control smart units are interconnected in a distributed and inherently aware architecture. This allows unprecedented agility and scalability. You can efficiently deploy control in any space at a fraction of the time and cost, and cater to a single room or the largest of enterprises with the same instantaneous plug and play. Using a first-of-its-kind cloud-based builder, we've replaced the antiquated custom code programming with an intuitive drag-and-drop interface for quick and easy setup. Install, configure, and modify your control system whenever you desire and without any prior programming knowledge. Kramer's cloud-based control architecture brings another groundbreaking difference. Every bit of control data is automatically gathered, totally eliminating the need for a dedicated analytics tool. You don't even need to predefine which data you wish to collect. All this data is fed into our cloud-based dashboard, providing comprehensive insights for effective decision-making and ROI management. Presenting a new era in control and analytics, Kramer Control is the latest building block in Kramer's Beyond the Box AV solutions. Kramer AV Beyond the Box.
So that's a new product we actually saw down at Infocom that we're going to be starting to install within the next few weeks, honestly. So, like I said, the reason I'm pointing out kind of all this stuff is because this is where we're going as a company. It's where we're going as an industry, and some of the new guys that are here, to work yourselves up to leading jobs and the future of this business. It's gonna take getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, and getting into computers, getting into networking. By leading jobs, by programming things, by wanting to make more money and make a solid living out of, what we're doing here and growing. This is kind of what we're going after. So I kind of want to just go over some networking basics and stuff. We, set some things up. It's going to be short and easy, so we can get out of here and go drink beer. All right, so there's a few different types of networks. The most basic network is what we call a LAN, a local area network, and basically this can be this is a smaller network, so it can be something that the internet gets connected to, or it can be an actual intranet, which is just kind of your own local internal network that doesn't go to the outside world and doesn't go to the internet. Then there's wide area networks, and they're basically larger networks. This can involve a city. They have MANs, MAN, which is the metropolitan area network. So a wide area network could, be anything from a city to a corporate center to the largest WAN. What you would call is actually the internet as a whole is what you call a wide area network. So there's going to be these terms that are going to pop up if you're in a router, if you're trying to configure things, you're going to see all this terminology. So some of this crap is really basic, obviously, that half of us know. If we don't and we never seen it, this is what it all means. Then there's VLANs, which is virtual local area networks. So when we're configuring stuff, a lot of our clients, we're not dealing with homes. When I was dealing with only homes, it was a lot easier because you don't have the crazy amount of firewalls. You don't have the crazy, you don't have total IT departments that are dictating all these terms. And what we do is when we set our equipment up on a client's network, like a hospital or a school or a government agency, something that's really secured, a lot of times what they do is they give us a separate VLAN. It's a virtual network. So internally, in their network, in their router, they can assign, okay, well, ports 1 to 100 or whatever in this whole scheme of things is going to be only specific for our equipment. So a lot of times when we set up networks and work with an IT company or department, that's what they set up for us, is a separate VLAN that all our stuff communicates on. So there's obviously basics of all our networking equipment. The modem is the most important, which takes the signal from the street, from the ISP or the internet service provider, and then brings it into the building. And the router is kind of the gateway that directs all the traffic of things coming in, coming out. Then there's network switches, powered switches, PoE switches, non-PoE switches, access points, which will extend the wireless, and then repeaters. So repeaters basically take the Wi-Fi signal, find it and then extend it, where you don't actually need a physical connection to it, where an access point, you actually need a physical connection back to the switch, and then it will extend it. Whereas a repeater, as long as you're in a signal where you take out your phone and you got 60, 70, 80% signal strength, you could place it there, and then it repeats and extends the network, to a farther location. So, basic dumb diagram of how it works. The internet goes to the modem, goes to the router, it goes out to your switch, and then out to all your computers or access points, or all your wireless devices, laptop, phone, etc., etc. All right, so if you work in a lot of old buildings, what the cable that a lot of times you'll see is Cat5, just regular Cat5. Sometimes if you even go back to the old phone wire, there was Cat3, there was actually Cat4. But a lot of the old cabling in some of these old buildings is Cat5. So you can see that the speed from Cat5 into the speed to, let's say, Cat6 is something that's totally different. And about a year ago, we decided to switch from Cat5e to Cat6, in an effort to kind of future-proof all our jobs going forward. Because a lot of people have asked, what the heck is the difference between Cat5 and Cat6? And they're all the same, it's the same connection, they all look the same. But as you can see, the speeds and the bandwidth of the actual cabling is totally different. So as we move forward, as we try to future-proof jobs, and especially as things are all traveling over networks, we want to make sure we always install Cat6. Even if you're got Cat5 in the van, whatever, take it out of the van, put Cat6 in the van, because that's what we need to keep installing. So.